let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Radical Truth to Power, the progressive news show with Lesbian 3. I am your host, Marlon, along with Anna Hart, along with Thiz. And as you can see from the title, we're just going to be doing a whole bunch of Reddit stories. We're not going to get into something so deep and everything when we're going into the holiday season. And besides, the deep stuff that was supposed to be deep stuff, but we're going to make it deep stuff, will be next month when we finally get through the worst of whoever of the year awards. So prepare our minds for that one, because it's always rough, but fun at the same time. The second hour is pretty packed. Am I the A-hole, a mafia video of the week, a positive story of the week, a remember the past, and Foxy's videos of the week. So pretty packed, pretty packed. How's everything, Anna?
Going good. It was Sunday, so good family visit, and it was just slow for me. I did not want to wake up. Had a support group today as well, so yeah, I didn't want to wake up.
Yeah. How's everything, Thiz?
Yeah, I'm good. Slept most of the early part of the day. My lighting sucks, everybody, because I'm too lazy to change my lights up right now. And my camera has already died once. So if I start having issues like yesterday, I'm just going to bow out and watch you guys on YouTube, because this is crazy.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Well, like I said, this is going to be a late day, a light show, not a late show, a light show.
Mm-hmm.
So without any further ado, let's get this party started. go ahead and start this off with a banger, spending time for Christmas.
I, female 29, met my fiance, male 35, 5 years ago. He had a 2-year-old daughter who he has shared custody of with his ex-wife, female 40. I always admired his friendship with his ex and how they're raising their daughter amicably. The first Christmas, he told me that he was going to spend it with his ex-wife and baby. He stays the whole 3 days, the 24th through the 26th. I didn't even think about it because we'd been dating only for a few months. I usually fly home to my parents on Christmas anyway. This happened every Christmas afterwards and I was fine. He proposed to me in February. Yesterday he asked me if I was going to buy my flight to my parents early so I don't need to pay 3 to 4 times the cost if I buy it around Christmas. I was surprised. I told him that I thought we could do Christmas together this year. He said, "What?" We, his ex and he, always celebrate Christmas together for the daughter's sake. I told him that it was not okay now that we are engaged to be married. I asked him why don't they do alternate Christmases or days like other divorced couples do, but he said no, we promise to make our daughter's life as normal as possible. I started thinking after his words. I don't know how this will work in the future. After 5 years together, I'm still shipped away every Christmas and I know it's for the little girl who I adore, but I feel sick to my stomach. I think I want to end the relationship, but he thought I was being so selfish and horrible. I feel horrible too, but I don't see any future with him. Update. Fiance just got home and showed me a text he got from his ex. He told her basically that he was planning to include me in this Christmas. Her answer was long and harsh, saying that I wasn't really family yet and that she wasn't comfortable with a stranger in her house. Then she accused him of being weak and prioritizing a woman over his daughter, who's at a sensitive age now. She's 7. So he asked me that maybe not this year, but next year I'm definitely family because we will be married and his ex won't have any other excuses. I feel more conflicted now. Could I stay another year and hope it gets better, or should I just cut my losses when he obviously isn't trying to support me? I know it's his daughter he's thinking of and he doesn't want to make waves, but I feel like I'm nothing right now. Here's some relevant information from OP. OP is 8 weeks pregnant, but has not told her fiance. OP stated that her fiance, the dad, would not be around for Christmas even if they had their own children. Their children would get to see him every other day of the year, so Christmas would be nothing to them. He later said it was a joke after it upset OP. And a quote from OP, "We live in the same city. My stepdaughter lives with us 50% of the time. I have suggested Christmas Eve/day solution. No. Also suggested that the ex-wife celebrate with us every other Christmas and my husband with her the other times. No. Because of this, the ex called me a moron and laughed in my face. This was the Christmas before last."
Something wrong with this lady, man. I mean, I might be in the minority here, but I'm like, he's got this thing structured. Y'all been together for 5 years. It means for at least 4 years, you've been fully aware of whatever this thing that they're doing is. Why are you still getting married to him? Right? That's one. Like, you're playing around. Should I stay with him? The fact that you're talking like that, no, you shouldn't, because it's not fair to him and it's not fair to you. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop trying to make things fit that don't fit. And now you done messed around and complicated it further. You got a baby on the way and you didn't even bother telling him about it. So you're having conversations with him about something that you know more information about than he does. So when you say, well, if we had a child, would it be any different? That's purely hypothetical to him because he doesn't know there's a baby coming. So he's going to give you an answer based on his reality. Then you're going to tell him you have a baby coming, or he's going to notice. And his math may or may not change, but he definitely ain't going to like the fact that you hid it from him for 2 to 3 months. So what type of marriage are you trying to build exactly? Like, what is that? And now all these scenarios that you waited until you were engaged to try to put him, what do you put it, like an ultimatum, so to speak. You waited until you were engaged for that. That wasn't right. That was jacked up. Okay. So now you are about to get to deal with all the conditions that you were trying to put on him. You're going to see him spending every Christmas with his first child and Christmas Eve with y'all shared child, and none of it with you. And you're going to be on the side now of what his ex-wife is like, who has the child. And I'm sorry to put this on her because I don't know her, but the odds are far more prevalent that whoever has custody of the child, whoever has physical custody of the child, is the one who gets to play the most games. And they always do. Well, almost always do. So now you are going to be in a position saying, no, you can have 4 hours on Christmas Day, or no, you can do Christmas Eve, but not with your ex-wife because she would never let me be there either. And then you start playing your game from that end, and the ex-wife is playing her game from the other end, and he's stuck in the middle with both of y'all. The better option would have been, this isn't the type of relationship that I want or need. And it's just not fully healthy for me. And if we can't come to an agreement, then we need to break up. But you were dishonest. He was selfish. You were dishonest. And now y'all about to have a whole mess.
Yeah, I gotta say, I agree, Piers. I listened to that and was like, all three of them seem a bit messed up. I get that he's trying to act for the daughter. He needs to, consider a new person in his life as well, you know. But she's also, you're right, she didn't mention this before a ring came on her finger or that night, like, I don't know, all of them to me seem to be playing with this, and I worry about the kids.
Yeah, and I've kind of walked, not this whole situation at all, of course, but my ex-wife, how do I put this? She put me through hell for like 11 years. But one thing she never did, she never got in the way of me being a father to my child. Never.
Okay.
So what she would do is play games with me about things like, if it was my year to have her for Christmas Day, it would be like noon before I got her. But then if it was her year to have her for Christmas Day, it's heavy pressure to get her there Christmas Eve night so that she wakes up on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Right? Is that kind of stuff. Or when I'm supposed to pick her up at 5 and I get there at 5 and she's not ready until 6. Yep. So I mean, I had some annoyance on that, but overall she was really great as far as the custody part goes. But I remember losing girlfriends during the time when my daughter was really young, because my whole mission was not to disturb my daughter any more than I had to. Right. So that created a situation where it's jump and how high. Right. Because I'm not going to argue with you in front of my child. I'm not going to raise my voice in front of my child. Right. Even though you're doing all that back at me, I have to just take it. Right. At least that's how I felt. And so I could see how the dad could wander into that space, but it's not healthy, and it won't get healthy until you have that moment where you're like, I don't care. Do what you're going to do. Right. Because one of the best pieces of advice I got early when I was going through it was somebody, I can't remember, I think it was my cousin, but he was like, you can't control what anybody says about you. But if you stop being there, everything they say about you is true. And that's what I had to just lean on. Like, my daughter knows me. She knows how she feels with me. She knows how she feels about me. And I will protect and I will fight for that as best I can. But at the same time, if I'm miserable and sad and stressed out and all of that, then I'm hurting her. Right. But you got to get through that. And that's what I'm looking at with this dude. Like, your daughter's 7. We don't know how long they've been split up. So your daughter's 7. You trying to navigate this space. And eventually you're going to get to that moment that a straightening happens between you and the mother. It's going to happen. And it's probably going to be way worse than you think you're putting off. But he's not there yet. The OP, though, she knew this wasn't for her. She knew it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Foxy, what you got?
I think he agreed to unrealistic goals. He wasn't thinking of the future. Like, those are that's something that you agree to if in the moment. Like, okay, I don't have to, so I can do this, you know. And once he get with somebody that's serious, he's thinking, you know, I've been doing this. She agrees to it. It's all good, but not looking at it from her point of view. And when they have a family, so I think everybody is an a-hole in this. I don't know what category this is, but except for the daughter, of course. But
right.
Yeah, it's unrealistic to set those goals because, hey, eventually the daughter's gonna know my parents are not together. Why is my dad coming over here all the time? He has a whole family. It's not realistic because normal families don't do that. So yeah, but you know, whatever. That's just my take. That's my take.
And I think it's a big part with like every relationship too, like Foxy was saying. Just because someone agreed to something at one point, that's not static. You know, like you got to renegotiate terms.
You can amend those terms. Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, this was great when I was single, you were single. We was trying to figure out this whole divorce thing. This made sense so that our daughter could have a soft landing. But I can't build a life and you can't build a life if we have Christmas locked down this tight, right? But I said, eventually they'll get there. They ain't got no choice.
All right. I'm saving my energy because I really don't have anything to add to what anybody said. I agree with all of it. The whole thing started off unrealistically, and all three of y'all live in a la land, but okay. I don't even want to update on that story. I don't even care. So let's go ahead and get to the second story, which I will have something to say about it. Rumors.
I'm a 30-year-old guy. My wife, Jessica, is 22. My wife has a 7-year-old son, Max, whom she had when she was 15 years old. The father, who was her boyfriend in junior high school and is the same age as Jessica, actually left the state when he and his family learned that she was pregnant. Jessica has no idea where she is, and since her family is well off, she didn't really need or care for his support. I met Jessica when she was 20. We dated for a year and then got married when she was 21. I love Max and raised him as if he was my own son. Last month, Max came to my workplace with Jessica in the early afternoon to surprise me with a lunch outing. As they waited for me to finish up a meeting, the front desk secretary, Claire, chatted with Jessica. I wasn't there for the conversation, but Claire was stunned at how young Jessica looked, and Jessica said that she was 22. Apparently, Claire did a bit of napkin math and came to the following conclusions. 1. Jessica is 22 and I'm 30. 2. Max is 7. 3. That means that Jessica and I had Max when she was 15 and I was 23. Apparently, from that day on, Claire began gossiping about this. I had no idea what was going on, but I did notice that Claire abruptly changed her attitude towards me, glaring when she thought that I wasn't looking or rolling her eyes when I talked to other people. Well, today at work, when I was in the bathroom washing my hands, I overheard Claire gossiping with a new hire about my underage wife outside the door by the water cooler. I left the bathroom and then walked up behind Claire. She turned around and looked like a deer in the headlights when she saw me, so I announced loudly, "Hi, Claire. You see, I'm not Max's biological father. In all of your gossiping to other people, you forgot to consider the most obvious possibility, which was I'm his stepfather. I will, by the way, be reporting you to HR for this." I headed directly to HR and explicitly told them what Claire had said, and the manager, a fellow gossip friend of Claire's, asked if I really wanted to escalate this over something so small. I said yes. She then told me that Claire is a single mother and relies on this job, and that I shouldn't have embarrassed her in front of the office like that. I insisted on filing a report. After calming down a bit, I feel kinda bad about what I did. Claire cried at her desk and left early. Was I a butthole to approach the issue this way?
Here is my controversial statement of the night. Dude, you just displayed some mighty feminine energy there, bro. Sorry. You could have had a conversation with her. Could have. Didn't have to, but you could have. You could have had the blow up that you had, and then waited to see what came from it. Well, bro, you went off in the hallway, unprofessional, then amped it up some more to go file a report on what? Because she was spreading a rumor. Like, you ain't never heard nobody have rumors before. I don't know. Maybe I can't relate to that piece. I'm sorry. I don't think he needed to go that high, but I'm not gonna call him the butthole for it. It's just, dude, calm it down some, man. You know? And it's not fair, right? It's not fair, but you know that there's an obvious age difference between you and your wife. So you're going to combat some level of social awkwardness until she's about 30 and you're about 40 and nobody can really tell the damn difference. That's kind of it's not fair. I'm putting it out there. It's not fair. She's an adult. You're an adult. You both met as adults. So, but life is full of double standards and hypocrisies and stuff. This is one of the minefields you literally chose.
Okay. It's been a very long time. It probably won't happen anytime soon after this. First time I totally disagree with everything Thea's just said.
You disagree with me all the time.
Yeah, but not
all the time.
Not everything you just said, though. Just bits and pieces. But the whole thing. We're not talking about a rumor of, did you know that he was dating such and such? Or did you hear a rumor of this, that, and other? No, lady, you started a rumor that this dude is basically the P word to the whole office. You calculated that up on a napkin and then opened your big mouth to the whole office. It was nobody's business, including yours. And if you really thought it was that bad, why did you go to HR? I don't know what you were going to get out of it, but you didn't think it was that bad. You just decided just to be a little rumor, talk all over the place. And then you were still, and how did he find out that it was Claire? That you still start the rumor to new hires because she wanted to keep that rumor train going. So yeah, dude, I'm just being realistic of saying you're right, there's on one thing. It was unprofessional, but I'm being realistic. When somebody's basically calling you a groomer, I don't know how to act either. You basically just told me that I'm a P word. And then you want me to be professional? Yeah, no. You can
I was just giving a description.
You started a rumor about a crime that never happened. Also, to the other manager, you're gonna do a report over a small thing. Hey, your little buddy over there thinking it was so small that she was telling the office and new hires. So it wasn't that small. If she was still keeping the train going, wasn't that small? Now, I think, yes, once you calm down, which same thing I would do, once you calm down, I think the only thing you probably be saying is, yeah, I should have went off on her in the walkway. But she was crying at her desk. She ain't crying at her desk because she's sorry for what she did to you. She cried at her desk because now she's about to lose her job over this. And she didn't think this through. So she still don't give a rat's butt about you, OP. She's still worried about herself.
Mm-hmm.
She should. But the funny thing about it is, she should have thought about this before you started calling people a crime for telling them that they did something that they never did, but not thinking it through. For minding your business until you at least had all the facts. But no, you found out how to do some add and subtracting on a piece of paper and got, I got you.
Yeah, because people who mess with underage people always seem to go marry them. But anyway, Anna, you're the voice of reason.
Once again, everyone seems to be floating off, and though yes, I agree more with Marlon than Theus in this particular instance that yes, he has a reason to be annoyed. It would have been more in his better interest just to I think quietly take it to HR. Because that is a damning accusation. I can't fault him. Like, no, he's not an a-hole. She is a bit for sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. Yeah, it's a hard situation because how could that not stir up a whole bunch of emotions in him? How could he not respond to that from the center of a whirlwind of emotions? I mean, yes, he I don't think he handled it bad or anything, and I think he did the right thing ultimately.
That's why I mean, and I'll recant, I'll back down. I'll agree with both of y'all. Only thing that I was just saying is the manner in which it went. You know, like
It
I
just
understood
didn't
it.
seem to
That's why I said I
benefit
can't call
him.
anybody a butthole on this. I'm just saying that
Yes.
because rumors they start all the time. If you've ever worked with other people or dealt with other people, there's always some stupid rumor going around. And you can try to avoid it by not feeding into them, but they still come up because people are messy. But he had to
Yeah.
confront it because it was about him, and he went off, which is unfortunate because you're at work. You got to, even when you running high on emotion, you got to tamp that down some. But
Yeah.
he didn't, and he was in the right for reacting. And then he took it to HR because if he didn't, then it could have been caused, they would have turned it around on him, and then he becomes the aggressor, right? So he was right to take it to HR.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. For me, that last step was a little extra, but whatever, it's his life, and they were attacking him.
Yeah. Foxy, what you got?
So I see a different element in this, and I really think that he responded appropriately. Because at the water cooler, anybody that's passing by, including the CEO of the company, could have heard that. And this could have affected his job as well as his freedom. So yeah, I think he responded appropriately. And I'm not saying that, get in her face, but I don't know if he did that, but I think he gave her the same energy that she had been spreading around. Now, there are times when you could pull back, but at that moment, I think he was angry, and he didn't hit her, he didn't threaten her. I think he responded appropriately. So yeah, and by doing it that way, he protected himself. He stood up for himself because then he knew. So yeah, I I see both. I see all sides, but I think he did the right thing. I think he did.
And with you saying that, popped something else in my head. If that rumor would have continued, it could have got outside of the workplace. Like, people don't hold room. Oh, we off the clock, so no more talking about what we just heard. No, people will go and tell their family, tell their friends. You don't know who knows who. You don't know who. You don't know any of this stuff. So a damaging rumor like that is just that. It is very damaging. I heard you sleeping with such. Yeah, whatever. You have no proof of that, and I got all the proof that I'm not. Other rules like that. This, a flat out crime, could damage his reputation, could damage his job, could damage his career going forward. Because even if they come out and go, we proven that the rumor is not correct. You know how people are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you pay? Well, I heard it different. Well, they had to say that so they don't get sued. If it gets too far, there's no pulling back on someone.
I agree with you on that, because that gets us into like the SA discussions and stuff, right? You can't unprove an allegation. Even if you disprove it, you can't get rid of it, right? But this is where, me and you, Marlon, we oftentimes depart, and it's more about scale or scope, I guess you could say. All of the things you laid out very well could happen. But if you spend your time going 12 degrees past where you are to where things can go, you will oftentimes either find yourself unnecessarily stressed out or seeing ghosts and goblins where they don't exist. And now you're fighting battles that don't exist, right? So, like, yes, she spreads this rumor that can get in the way of his job. The way he responded to it wasn't optimal from a professional standpoint, but it was 100% legitimate and warranted. He then followed up the outburst with a professional response to protect himself and his job. How she feels about it and crying and going on, that ain't my problem, right? I did what I was supposed to do. And this is a consequence of you not doing what you were supposed to do. And hopefully we'll both learn from this. And 6 months from now, we can be cool. But that's consequences. Consequences come, behind actions. But then when you go to the next part where your mind starts to go, well, what if the CEO had heard it, like Foxy was pointing out? Yeah, it could have gone left, but the CEO didn't hear it. What if it had gotten out into the streets and it got back to my church? Because that's usually where some of this will boil out, because that's where people have to put on their moral robe. And now I got to deal with them thinking that me and my wife's relationship is somehow tainted. So do I have to leave the church? Is my family branded in some kind of way? Right? You start going all the way out here. You've spun yourself up into all these scenarios that are probable or possible, but they're not happening. So you can hurt yourself that way because you're not getting anything from it. It's all your imagination. You've dealt with the things that you are able to deal with. And if any of the other things start to pop up, then you go after them. But I just feel like you can really not only hurt yourself, but you end up hurting a lot of other people hanging out in your imagination.
I do get what you're saying, but I guess what I was saying was these are things you should think about, but not react on it.
But it's feeding your anger.
Yeah, and it will. But you're already pissed off. You're already mad. I mean, just don't act on these. Like, I feel what you're saying. Like, everything that I said, I still believe in. Now, should he go to the church and go, just in case you hear a rumor about me? Okay, bro, what are you doing? No. But I do see what you're saying. The action happened at work. You deal with it at work. And you take care of it at work. And hopefully it is at work. It starts and ends there. But no, I don't need you to go get on a phone bank and start calling people going, just in case you heard me do something. Okay, now you need to go talk to somebody.
But it's a natural thing, because you start thinking you have to defend your name and defend your honor. And part of, like, where I was saying a little earlier, and it was probably murky, and I apologize, but that's where I was trying to get at when I was saying, you went into January, December, or whatever that time frame, whatever that phrase is. You're older, she's much younger, right? You're in that relationship.
In April, December.
Thank you. So you're in that type of a relationship, and that doesn't mean that you can game out everything. You can't. You both were adults and you fell in love, and realistically, you're in the same decade, So,
Yeah.
But you know what you got into, right? It's similar to when, people aren't gonna like this, but it's similar to when you get into like an interracial relationship. You love that person because you fell in love with that person, but you also have to be aware of all the social conditions that surround that relationship, because it's gonna factor in.
It's gonna come,
right? It's going to come. All of society could become perfectly fine with you marrying an Asian lady or a black woman or a white man or whatever. But everybody within the family might not be. Everybody on your job might not be, right? So you still have to factor that in so that you can be emotionally and mentally fortified. Not so that you can go fight every battle in every imaginary landscape, because it won't work. You'll lose. And you'll probably ruin the relationship that you care about.
Parker is in the house. Hey, Parker. Parker said whoever the high school boyfriend was who left the state is one of the a-holes in this story too.
Possibly. And I say possibly because he doesn't get to control where his family goes. He's a teenager.
No, as soon as the family found out she was pregnant, they left the state. So they know.
His family.
They know. Okay.
A bunch of a-holes.
I would just think it's the family.
Right?
I mean, put on a high school kid that says, okay, we're going to leave this state. Well, I'm going to stay. No, you're not.
Right. So,
no, you're not.
Possibly he was. Now, I would say the part of him that was an a-hole, because I believe that even though you're a minor, there's certain levels of, what's the term? Like ownership of yourself. But there's certain things that you still own. So y'all were 15. That's really young. That's high school. But it's still old enough to know about birth control. It's still old enough to know that you shouldn't have been doing it. Right. So you have a certain agency. That's the word. You have a certain amount of agency that stays with you. Right. But fact is, y'all are both children. And the parents made a decision. So the parents may be buttholes. No, the parents absolutely are buttholes. Because even if you felt it best to separate your child from this young lady and move, which I can't see how that becomes anywhere that makes sense. The fact is, you knew this child was coming into an existence and you owed on behalf of your child to step up and help that young lady. Even if your son's a complete flake, you as parents are supposed to step up, right? So that's where I'll definitely put they're the buttholes.
I'll put a slight. This is me reaching, but it was never told in the story, so I'm not sure. They was 15 then when they conceived the baby, and he ain't 15 now.
No, he's 22.
Has he ever reached out to say, "Hey, forget about it. This is my responsibility now. I want to be a part of it, even if it's, I'm a whole nother state. You left the whole state, but whatever."
Hey, if they change cities, it's just as much as changing states.
But that's it was never told in the story. I'm just saying you was 15 then, but you ain't 15 now, and I didn't hear anything about you saying, "Hey, But I don't want to get into that.
I think that's a fair point.
I'd be adding too much to the story if I do that.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point, and then let's take it separate from the story and just as a part of the scenario or situation. We don't know if they maintain any level of contact.
Right.
So even if he wanted to step up, how could he? So unless she got him on papers, which probably would have been mentioned by this dude because he's really irritated. He would have dropped that little gem. It's kind of like in any situation.
He said something to the fact that she came from a wealthy family, so
right. So they didn't care. They got money, right? So there's that. But I'm just saying, like, even if you wanted to re-engage, and I want to say this just because it applies to so many situations in life. Oftentimes we harbor negative attitudes, negative thoughts, and negative feelings about people for not ever getting something right when you know that they were wrong, when there's no pathway for them to do it. Like literally that helped me so much with me and my ex-wife back when I really add a few more reallys, didn't like her. And I had to come to this conclusion. And I said to myself one day, if she wanted to give me back everything that I felt she took from me, right? Because I felt like she took my opportunity to be the type of father that I am to my two youngest children. I couldn't be that for my eldest child. And all the pain, all the stress, all the vitriol, all of those things. And I had to sit in that for a second and say, if she wanted to fix and give me back any of that, can she do it? And the answer is no. And when I sat in that, it was over. And ever since then, me and my ex-wife, I love her dearly. She is one of my most dearest friends. But I had to get to that point where even if somebody wanted to fix it, they can't. And you're only hurting yourself holding these chains onto this person who either doesn't know or doesn't care or can't fix it. So that was why I was saying it like as a separate aside from what we were kind of touching on.
All right. Anna, you got anything to add?
No. That's good.
All right. Final story of the hour. I should have said we only had 3 stories. Final story of the hour. My wife got us kicked out.
My wife and I are really struggling financially and moved in with my mom to help us get back on our feet. I know that it hasn't been easy on her, but I just can't believe what my wife did. So my stepsister is getting married and she wouldn't invite my mom because her and her siblings hate her. My stepfather refused to attend the wedding without my mom, and it was a whole big thing. I think his kids thought that he was going to cave because he's always been a pushover, but he meant it and he didn't go to the wedding. I'm pretty sure that this hurt my stepdad, but he comes from a pretty toxic patriarchy culture and he isn't going to openly show his emotions. My wife was upset on the day of the wedding because she believes kids should always come before your spouse and that his behavior is disgusting. I don't disagree, but it also isn't our business. My wife took some pictures of my stepdad the day of the wedding to show my stepsister that he wasn't sad enough. He was just hanging out with my mom, and in one of the pictures, he's laughing. But I found this extremely uncomfortable for a few reasons. It's creepy and invasive to spy on people and take their pictures. They aren't even properly dressed in some of these pictures. Like, in one of them, I can very clearly see his dick because he's just wearing his boxers. And no, he doesn't walk around the house like that. In another, my mom appears to be wearing one of my stepdad's shirts with nothing under it, so it's just weird. Also, we're guests in their home. Well, his daughter sent him the pictures and said that she was glad that he had his whore to comfort him. My stepdad realized what my wife had done and blew up. He called us ungrateful leeches, called my wife a B-word, and threw our clothes all over his lawn. I'm furious. Living with them was such a great opportunity to rebuild financially, and she just ruined it. I lost it and shouted last night that this is all her fault, and what the hell did she think was going to happen? She's furious and said that I had no right to speak to her like that, regardless of what she did.
Don't believe this is a real story. That's one. But two, let's say that it is. Yeah, shawty, that was dumb. Not only was it dumb, that was rude, cruel, disrespectful, mean-spirited, short-sighted, messy. I don't know. There's a lot of words we could throw at this one.
You're missing my all-time favorite word that I try not to use.
Disgusting?
No, but that's a good one too. That was stupid. That was really, really stupid. And your husband is exactly right, OP, I guess, is exactly right. What did you think was going to come of this? Where did you think this was going to happen? I listened to so many stories, and I finally, it just keeps dawning on me of, why do you think you're going to get what you want by insulting the person? When does that ever happen? Because you can't insult me. You can't insult my family and think, oh, well, gosh, maybe I am the B word. Maybe I need to think about this. No, I'm going to double down and make sure you get absolutely nothing from me. So, boo-boo, we got kicked out of this. I have nowhere we can go. But the funny thing about it is, I don't have to find a place for us. I'm going to find a place for me because I can't trust you to keep us in the place that I find. I don't. I do not trust you. If you are so mindless to think you're going to be a spy for a woman to the people who are putting us up in their home by taking Playboy pictures and everything else and sending it to her, what's next? We get in the hotel room. The towels ain't cleaned up for you. We get kicked out. We go to a shelter. They don't got the food you like, so we get kicked out. I don't trust you enough to stay with you.
Well, the problem here is she's, what's the term? I want to say it's impetuous. I think that's the right word. She gets hot. She gets on her moral high horse and thinks that will justify any action that follows, and then is surprised when it doesn't work that way. Right? This is the type of person that, yeah, it's the kind of people who say, "Well, I was telling the truth. It's the truth." Yeah, it can be
You're
true.
still in really bad taste.
Yeah, it can be true and
That's
wrong.
true.
Like, there's a time and a place and a way, and this isn't the scenario, but I'm sure she will use this and try to spin it. Well, what if they were doing something illegal? Just because I'm living in their house, I'm not allowed to say anything about it? Well, if that comes up, then let's deal with that. But this was a family dynamic situation that you inserted yourself into.
Because you ain't even saying anything that the sister asked you to take pictures.
No, she was just being messy.
You just being messy.
Mm.
And
Worse
look,
than
look,
Frankie.
look, sister-in-law, they ain't sad enough. What?
Because
You
in her
should.
head, if you are not invited to your daughter's wedding, you should be a crumpled up mess sitting in the corner. And this is a pivot, but to me it's related. It's like people who don't think that poor people look poor enough, or who think a homeless
Ah,
person has to look a certain way,
Oh, no.
or
We had these stories before, Theas. You're parked in the handicap zone.
yeah, the one who
Don't
had
look
a different
handicapped.
disability. Yeah.
You don't look like you have a disability.
Yeah, but a reason why I chose the ones I chose is because those are the things we commonly hear about. We see it in day-to-day life. So she's that type of person. You have to look the part and be the part, and but yeah, she's messy. Very, 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 very messy.
Anna?
there's not a whole lot to add that I haven't already said and you haven't already said. It was really bad of her. And she deserves everything that's gonna come.
It's gonna come. You got anything, Foxy?
I really don't like this lady.
Mm.
Like, you come in their house, they welcome you in to say to rebuild your finances, whatever. And then you totally disrespect them. That's so foul. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's so foul. And
Mm-hmm.
she had to sneak around to get those pics. Like, she waited for the right opportunity. No, I totally hate this lady.
And then Marlon's response is, "Hey, baby, we're out of bread. Can you go to the store and pick up some bread?" Okay. If she come back, and the door locked and changed, and he's sitting in the mirror in the window. I can't let you back in, baby. Look, it's cold out there. It was me or it was you, and you chose you. So I'm just going. I left a blanket.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, then.
I'm throwing it from the top window because I don't trust you that I'll throw it out the bottom window. You try to crawl in. Nah. Catch. Don't let it hit the snow because you don't want it to get wet. You need a dry blanket. Now get off my property.
We're married. I don't know you, ma'am.
At this point, we married on paper alone. And by the way, not for long.
I called the police. You're trespassing.
No, don't call the police because then they'll have to let her in. Y'all are married.
Better yet, when
It ain't your house.
He should have said, "No, that wasn't me. That was her."
Just throw her under the bus. Yo, Pops, what me, bro? I didn't take no pictures. I ain't do nothing.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? I'm the type of dad that'd be like, yeah, but you brought her up in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You married her.
Like, son, remember all those times? All those times, son, I told you about hard decisions, hard lessons, and tougher consequences. This is one of them.
And this is me pivoting again, but these stories just make me feel like, man, this wasn't the first time your wife took that far left turn. It just do not sound like she's a boundary jumper since day one. And I was like, I gave you an olive branch of forgiveness for all the crap you have put us through, but you're my son. I don't want my family out there in the cold. Here you go. And you jumped the boundary again. Bruh.
Could you imagine going to dinner with her and something in that order not being right? Or going to Target and something wasn't quite right? And she ready to go to war, bro. She ready to go to war.
I did not want to say that, Foxy. I really did not want to say that, but it did pop in my head. Bruh, since you already effed up and you don't have no place to stay. I want you to really sit down on a bench, sit down at a park, a bench, whatever, at a library. I want you to sit down where it's nice and quiet. I want you to really think hard about why you're in a financial situation that you're in. I want you to think. I'm not putting anything in your head. I'm not going to do that because I don't know. But I just want you to think really hard. Go through your history. Was you in a financial situation before you was married? Or was you in a financial situation after you was married?
I think what happened is she was at work one day and she overheard her coworker talking about her being married to an older man and claiming that it was some kind of grooming situation, and she went off on him. And now she done got fired because she started yelling and fussing in the hallway.
Oh
And
boy.
that made both of them. So now you done lost all your income, and you had to come back to your husband and say, "Baby, we can't pay the bill." And then 2 months later, y'all got evicted. So you trying to move in with his parents, and you find out the rest of it, and then there you go.
It would be bad, but they said she was a single mom, so.
No, she's the other side of the equation. See, he handled it his way at his job with Claire, but she, the wife, would have been handling it a different way on her job because the same rumor would have been circulating, and she wouldn't have been so cool about it, and she would have went slap off, and then she got fired.
She is the person that would have called the church and said, "Listen, just in case you heard, it ain't true." And knowing her, and I'm not even trying to be funny, and knowing her, she'd be the person that would call the church and listen, just let you know these mother bleeds try to bleed, call me a bleed, I ain't taking this bleed. So you tell the pastor that.
Yeah, we're in the time now, which is wild. I don't know when it kind of shifted, but people really aren't as uptight about cursing around the church that they used to be.
No?
Yeah, not there yet.
I'm never going to be there.
I'm not. You're right. I don't want to be there.
As I approach the church, I turn the music off in the car. Right? I'm like, I'm that guy. Like, it goes silent as we get ready to pull into the church parking lot. I'm not playing no R&B, no rap, no gospel, no nothing. Out of respect. As soon as I'm turning in, here we go. Church time. But that's me. That's a whole nother level of extreme. But I mean, people literally, church will be over and they'll be in the parking lot and they won't drop the heavy curse words. They'll just drop the lighter ones. And you're like, church is right there.
Do you wear jeans to church? Or would you wear jeans to church?
Say what?
Would you wear jeans to church? That's Foxy's question.
On Family and Friends Day.
Jeans to church?
Yeah, like at my church, you have Family and Friends Day. You have
so you wear jeans to events at the church, but not.
It's still church. Like it's like it'll be Sunday morning service, but it's that particular is the theme of that Sunday is family and friends or church reunion, right? So you're probably gonna be there all day. It's just a thing at the Baptist church that I grew up at. But generally, no, I'm gonna put on some slacks or some khakis and I'm gonna go to church. You know, kids can get away with it, but adults, no, put on some slacks, man. Let's go.
Kids? I couldn't get away with it.
My kids aren't gonna get away with it, but I when it comes to kids, I don't hold that too tight. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't control their money, they don't control anything. So just getting them there is a good thing. So if they in some jeans, fine. Don't roll up in there in some shorts or something, but you come on in there with some jeans on and let's go to church, man. Because the kids, let's be real, 99% of the message, they don't understand what's happening no way. So, you know, that's not my thing, but I do hold to certain levels of decorum. I do think that, you know, church is supposed to be somewhere that's hallowed or honored. So Just put on something. And now, if you ain't got nothing, then you wear what you got, right? But that's, but that's oftentimes what I've seen in all of my years when people say, "Well, come as you are." That's a cop out thing, right? You're using that as an excuse to wear that tight dress. You're using that as an excuse to have on your jeans. You're using that as an excuse because who can fight that, right? You know. But generally speaking, you're an adult. This is a good time to dress business casual and bring your butt to church, or dress in your nice stuff, because it used to be that's what it was, right? You put on the nice stuff. You only had one suit, and this is when you wore it. So, you know, but those times have changed.
Many times growing up. I mean, this was way before I got married. I used to look at the women walking in the church and going, "Man, that is a nice dress she wearing. It was nice last night at the club too."
I've never felt that way.
It was the same dress.
Yeah, you know, that's what young folks, I suppose. But I never really ran into that, even when because you know, like I said, I used to be pretty heavy with church and stuff. But no, you know, the Baptist, even the Baptist church I grew up in, right, from 15 to whatever, it's my family church. The churches I've been to and across the country in different places. No, you dressed decent and you came to church. In the last 10 or 15 years, though, you start seeing a lot more of, like, you can't hardly tell the difference between club wear and church wear. But I think part of that is this weird nonstop dating recruiting culture we got going on. So everybody's really at church trying to catch somebody, you know? So like the women are dressed in a way that accentuates their figure. The guys are looking for the women to come in dressed in a way that accentuates their figure. And it's like this hookup culture that's like running just below the surface, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know.
Oh, yeah. All right, everybody, that is our first hour. I appreciate it. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so at the time. We're going to go ahead and roll into the Mama Heart Hour with the Am I the A-Hole and Mafia video of the week, a positive story of the week, a Remember the Past, and, of course, Foxy's video of the week. 3-minute break to reboot and refresh, and we'll see everybody on the other side. Stay tuned.
I could take a break from this world, running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free. Finally, I wanna be free. I wanna be free. I wanna be free. I always say dreaming, never imagined I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Feel my wings spread, levitate into the clouds. I'm so high above the ground. I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free. Finally, I
without further ado, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/Tracy Media Fan. Help support Tracy and all of her endeavors. Please do not forget to go to Anna Hart's website, BorelliEtc.com. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. Please do not forget to go to Thea's website, OurUnitedCore.com. Communities build movements. And if you need to reach me, you can do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's radtp@outlook.com. Let's go ahead and get into the Mama Heart Hour. And if you need to leave, just let me know. We'll be fine. It's just the last hour.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, I'm just starting to get a bit of pain coming through, and if my meds don't take effect in next 10-ish minutes, I will probably go.
How about I meet you halfway? How about I go ahead and take you down, and if you feel better, come back in. If you don't even worry about it. Because just being in a certain position this whole time and you're not feeling well. So I'll take you down. If you start feeling better, just wave your hand, of course, or make a funny face or whatever, and I'll bring you back in. Taking it down now. Let's go ahead and get into it. Am I the a-hole? This is kind of a 4-minute one, so it's kind of long, but it's just weird. Daughter won't do my job.
OP, your post is dripping with jealousy. And let me be clear, I actually don't think that...
Sorry, folks. I thought I edited a lot better than that, but just ignore the first part and just wait for the second part. Sorry, but I'm not re-editing this.
OP, your post is dripping with jealousy. And let me be clear, I actually don't think that it's wrong necessarily for couples to set a boundary and say, look, husband, I don't want you to hang out with female friends. Or look, wife, I don't want you hanging out with guy friends. If that's a boundary that a couple decides to set up, then there's no issue with that. However, the exact opposite happened in this story. Your husband made it explicitly clear to you that he was going to have a relationship with this girl. That was a clear deal breaker for him. And if it's a deal breaker for you, then you just shouldn't have married him. Instead, what you decided to do was marry him and then constantly disrespect his boundary. And you might be saying, yeah, well, he disrespected my boundary by constantly being with her too. No, because this was his condition for marrying him. You're the one who agreed to it, even though when you agreed to it, actually you were lying about it. Basically, OP, what happened here?
I'm sorry, folks. I can't do it. I didn't know it was that long. So let me see if I can fix a couple of things. Mafia video of the week. Let's go ahead and get into this next video. I don't work here.
So at the time, I worked as a station agent in a French airport. These are the people in a suit that check you and your luggage in and even board you or deboard you from the planes. I worked with a French company for 8 months during the summer of 2018. Now, for the first 5 months there, I would always come dressed in a suit. Full suit. Even in the middle of summer with a tie and everything. So I would go home or stop in stores in the suit as well. Now this story of course happened a few months after I started. By then, wearing a suit became natural. No more of that weird, uncomfortable feeling while wearing it. It became normal. Even more, I got used to changing my attitude while wearing it, and people would think that I'm a more successful person just because I wear a suit. And I also got used to noticing people needing help, with problematic customers and all that. So on this day, I leave work at around 3 or 4 o'clock and head to a store to bring a faulty electronic I bought there. I walk to the store wearing only my suit and carrying the return item in the bag. I head towards customer service and immediately notice a man with his hand on the counter, looking angry and leaning towards the cashier, who we'll call Julie. All of her colleagues look a little tense. I shrug, as that's not my problem. I'm not paid to deal with that one. I turn to sit and notice that all the seats are taken, so I stay up and pull out my phone. Meanwhile, this guy starts to speak louder and louder, and he damn near blows a fuse. From what I got, the issue was that he wanted to use the store-issued credit card that belongs to his wife. But you guys are probably bright enough to know that using another person's credit card is a no-no, with fraud and whatnot. The guy gets more and more heated up and starts to call around for other people to join. That immediately ticks me off. When I was in training to become a station attendant, we learned of different types of customers. Now, I won't go into detail, but this guy is what we call a red customer. Someone who will rally others to help get what they want. I can see Julie on the verge of tears, and I try to think of something to do while the guy starts throwing slurs at her. I finally notice a paper hanging near the counter, and I take action. I drop my bag, adjust my tie, take my best manager face, and walk up to the guy. As soon as he notices me, he smirks and turns to me saying, "You're the manager?" To which I reply, "District manager, actually," while looking at both him and the cashier, as if to judge the situation. Julie turns white. He then points at her and says, "This employee is discriminating against me. I want to use my wife's store card. I have her ID. There's no reason that I can't do this. I want her fired." I then take a step forward. Without a word, I point at the paper I saw earlier. It's a notice saying that any kind of harassment or insult towards an employee will result in a lawsuit and fine for the customer. It's time for him to turn white. He opens his mouth, but I'm faster. I then say, "She's right. If you want to use that card, you need your wife to be here. How do we know you're not some thief who stole someone's ID and credit card? Now I have to ask you to leave, or I'll call security or police if you want. But first, you will apologize. You've been beyond insulting to her." Now at this point, he realizes what the situation has become. He then turns to Julie, apologizes in a weak voice, and quickly walks off. I walk to Julie and ask her if she's okay. She thanks me profusely, and apologizes that I, the district manager, had to witness that. Then another worker comes to me and asks what to do with a product returned by another client. I then laugh, pull out my airport ID and say, "Sorry, I don't work here. I just can't stand people like this." I got my refund and smiles from everybody on the team. It was a good day.
Yeah, this had to happen overseas because that ain't how it's gonna flow in America.
Not at all. Also, it has to happen overseas because we ain't never gonna make a law that says we can sue you if you're mean. That ain't no.
No, because the main people who are mean like that are the ones that would be subject to the law. No.
It ain't happening. But anywho, things I just discovered that I've been doing this job way too long because while that video was playing, I edited the first video and realized, wow, I did that in like 30 seconds. So cool. And it's a lot smaller. But anywho, for this video, I think she said it was in France.
Yeah, I think it was a cute story.
But it was a cute story. But
and I think it does give something I truly do believe in. And that is sometimes you just need to get involved. You know, but people right now, I mean, especially here in America, the main reason I knew this couldn't be America, other than the fact that they said it was France, was here people will watch you be assaulted and harmed because they themselves don't want to put themselves at any level of risk, especially in a country where everybody probably is carrying something. So it's a sad state of affairs. It's really sad.
It is. All right, let's get on back to our Am I the A-hole story. Daughter won't do my job.
I'm 54 years old and my daughter is 28. She's home on break from grad school getting her PhD. She's only home for 2 weeks because she says she doesn't have any more time, even though she has a month-long break. That's been a big thing with her lately. She's constantly too busy to do things with us or help out, even though she does have the time. I got my younger daughter a sweater, and it turns out that she already has it. I called my older daughter from work on Friday and told her that she had to run and exchange it for a different one. She said, okay, she'd do it the next day. I said that it had to be done that day to get the best options, and she said that she was grading papers, so she can't. I told her that it's not like she can't pause her grading, run out, and exchange it. She said that she wasn't going to slow down her work and just said that I should do it when I got back from work that day. I said that I was busy and I didn't feel like running out after a long day of work, and she said neither did she. But she doesn't even have a long day of work. She's sitting on her butt on her computer all day, and she doesn't even have scheduled hours to work. She can do it whenever she wants. Today, things really kicked off because I needed her to pick up an online order for a gift for my mom, her grandma. She again used the excuse of grading. She hadn't even started working yet. It was in the morning and she was drinking coffee and having breakfast. She said that she needs to have her grades done by today, but I looked it up on the website and she has until Monday evening, so I called her on her BS. She said that she had other work due on Monday, so she needed to get the grading done today. But she wouldn't enlighten me as to what this mysterious other work is. I said, well, tough. This needs to be picked up today so I can wrap it, and I was going into the office so I couldn't do it. She said that if I don't want to do it myself, then she'll do it on her own time. I told her, with that attitude, she can stay somewhere else, and she said, happily, and then packed her things claiming that she didn't want to stay here anyway, but was only doing so because I insisted. She left her gifts for everyone and said to not expect her for the holidays and that she'll go to her girlfriend's family instead. I think it's ridiculous that she's throwing a fit just because she can't constantly live like she's the only person on the planet. But my wife and my other daughter are now furious with me. So I figured I'd ask here because my younger daughter is always reading these stories with me. Am I the butthole, or am I correct that my daughter is self-centered and childish?
I wouldn't want to come home either. Talking about. And now that's the main one. I wouldn't want to come home either. You did her a favor, kicking her out. And that's what you did. When you tell an adult child, do what I say or get out, they gonna get out. It might be an idle threat to a younger child, but when you say that to a child who has options, so this one's pretty easy, bro. Yeah, I mean, I get you want your child to help out, but you don't get to dictate all the terms. They're not 15 anymore, right? This is your adult child. She's 20, probably 20 years old. Is she studying for a PhD straight out of college?
She was 27 or 28.
Okay, so yeah, it's a grown woman. Yeah, so this was pretty easy. Yeah, you were the butthole, and you were trying to bully your child, and your child was like, "No."
Here's what I don't get about you, dude. Several things, but let's just break it down a little bit. You ain't have time. You got your daughter a sweater. She already has that sweater. So you want your other daughter to go and exchange it. You don't know what the best options is. You just want her to do what you want her to do now. But whatever, let's go with your best option. My deal is this. Who would have got the sweater to begin with? You? So you can get your happy ass up and go exchange it. Your daughter is not your secretary. You ain't hired her to do your leg work. 2, and this is a world thing, to be totally honest with you. This is a world thing. For some reason, people constantly think that everybody who sits down is automatically don't work. And it's so foul to think that. They work, but if your hands ain't grimy, you ain't on your legs all them 8 hours, you ain't coming home sweating and taking a shower because you've been sweating all day, you ain't working. You can get up and go and leave anywhere you want to. Really? Really? Because I know of a few people who they monitor people's computers at home, and let's just say, no, you can't get up and go and do whatever the hell you want to do. They watching you.
Now, but there is something to that though. I make a living sitting in front of a computer, right? whether I'm in the office or if I'm at home. I'm sitting like I'm sitting right now, right? And yes, when I get done, I'm tired, but I'm not physically tired, right? I'm just tired of it, right? And that is not the same as somebody who's digging ditches and building buildings, right? That's not the same. But no one has the right to dictate another person's leisure, right? Like,
But that's what he's doing, though. She
yeah,
can
he's
do
way
whatever
out.
she want
Yeah,
to.
he's off base.
You really ain't doing no work. It's sitting on your butt all day.
Yeah, you trying to qualify the value of her work. He's the type of dude that if his wife has a day off and it's not the same day he has a day off, he will try to decide what all his wife should get done that day.
And at the same time,
that's how he is.
At the same time, when he has a day off, he'll come home and go, I'm using this day to rest.
Yep.
This day to rest. I ain't doing nothing.
Because he knows his reality. And he devalues other people's reality. Not going to go into a political thing because we're not doing politics, but that's a mentality where only my reality is real and your reality is subject to my reality.
Yep. So yeah, dude, you are the a-hole. Don't threaten your grown-ass daughter. It's not going to work anymore. She has a month off, but she only will stay with us for 2 weeks, probably because she can only tolerate you for 2 weeks. And you notice that time has gotten shorter because the 2 weeks wasn't even over yet. So appreciate you shortening it a little bit more. She has, like Thea said, she has options. You didn't think she did, but she has options. And not only have you lost your daughter out of your house, you lost your daughter for the holiday. So kudos, dude. And you still didn't get what you wanted. So, okay. Positive story of the week. I'm really going to see if I can find that song on YouTube because that's just the coolest song. Like you should be sipping coffee in front of a rainy window and just chilling.
Well, YouTube has some really good. It's not stuff you would be able to use because it'll probably all be copyrighted. But as far as this for you wanting to just like chill out, there's guitar jazz, there's rainy day jazz, and then there's like there's a couple different things. But if you find one or two of those, it'll lead you into some other ones.
Yeah,
really, really great playlist to just turn on, kick back, and chill.
Is what it is a lot of playlists where you would go for what you want to do. Do you want to relax? Do you want to study? Going back to the relaxing thing, but do you want to hear rain in the background? Like literally, there's a playlist where they put an artificial raining sound in the background, but they play music too to it. So YouTube is wild, but YouTube is people will search on YouTube before they search on Google.
You know, I've gotten to that point in many cases, which is sad. That's sad.
It's not sad.
It is sad because this is what it says to you, what it says to me anyway. We've gotten to the point where just tell it to me. I don't want to have to read it. Right? Like Google was so cool because now I didn't have to go find the book and all that stuff. It could be distilled and I could hit like 4 or 5 different things real quick that are telling me what I want to read and learn about. And then YouTube is like, hey, dummy, I'll just read it to you. And that's where we are. And it's really sad because people are not curating what they're taking in. So You just listening to somebody tell you something on YouTube. It could be anything. They can be saying anything to you.
And the funny thing about it is, YouTube has now become an adjective. At least that's what I'm going to say. It becomes an adjective because it's like whatever it is that you want to do, like household stuff or whatever. First thing people go, YouTube it.
That's what happened to Google.
Google it, YouTube it, but it was like YouTube it.
Yep. Once Google became synonymous for look it up, what was it? Yahoo and Bing and all of them, it was over. It was over.
What was it? Yahoo, Jeeves.
You had Ask Jeeves, you had Dogpile, you had all kinds of stuff. But when Google became Google, that's like Q-tips. You get Q-tips. You don't go get cotton swabs. You get Q-tips. You got Kleenex? I'm gonna go get some Kleenex. You don't go get tissue. Like that's when you know you don't really hit that mark when your company is the thing.
Yeah. What kind of Coke you want?
Coke.
Not what kind of soda.
Coke? Yeah.
What kind of soda? What kind of Coke you want?
Yeah. Coke just means the brown one.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Anyway, pretty long positive story, but I didn't want to break this up because I didn't want to get into it. It's going to get a little political because of the content of it, but trust me, it's not on purpose because it's a positive story, like I said. So you today, me tomorrow.
Now, this story involves me on the side of the highway, broken down, not knowing what to do, and wanting to cry and scream in frustration. Now, I don't know if this story fits the I Don't Work Here sub, but it does involve a beautiful family who didn't need to help me as I wasn't their problem, but they did. If you would indulge me, this is a long story. So this past year, I've had 3 instances of car trouble. A blowout on the highway, a bunch of blown fuses, and an out of gas situation. All of them while driving other people's cars, which for some reason makes it much worse on an emotional level. Anyways, each of these times I've broken down on the side of the highway, I was disgusted with how people would not bother to help me. Each time, I spent hours on the side of the freeway waiting, watching roadside assistance vehicles blow past me for AAA to show. The 4 stations I asked for a gas can had told me that they couldn't loan them out for my safety, but you could buy a really crappy 1-gallon one with no cap for $15. It was enough each time to make me say stuff like, "This country is going to hell in a handbasket." But you know who came to my rescue all 3 times? Immigrants. Mexican immigrants. None of them spoke a lick of the language, but one of those dudes had a profound effect on me. He was the guy that stopped to help me when I had a tire blowout, with his whole family of 6 in tow. At this point, I was on the side of the road for close to 5 hours. I was driving a big Jeep with a blown rear tire, and I had a spare but had no jack. Now, I had signs in the windows of the car, big signs that said I need a jack, and offered money. No dice, nobody stopped to help me. Right as I'm about to give up and just hitch out of there, a van pulls over and a dude bounds out. Now, he sizes the situation up and calls for his youngest daughter, who speaks English. He talks to her and she translates that they have a jack, but it's too small for the Jeep, so we will need to brace it. He then runs back to his van, produces a saw from the van, and cuts a log out of a downed tree on the side of the road. We rolled it over, put his jack on top, and bam, we are in business. Now, I start to take the wheel off, and if you can believe it, I broke his tire iron. It was one of those collapsible ones, and I wasn't very careful and I snapped the head clean off. At this point, I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm definitely screwed now. But no worries, the guy runs to his van, gives it to his wife, and she's gone in a flash down the road to buy a new tire iron. She's back in 15 minutes. We finished the job, with a little sweat and cussing, and I'm a very happy man. We're both filthy and sweaty. The wife then produces a large water jug for us to wash our hands in. I tried to put a 20 in the man's hand, but he wouldn't take it, so instead I gave it to his wife as quietly as I could. I thanked them so much. They literally came to my rescue after 5 hours. I told the girl that I think her family is awesome and that her dad is a superhero to me. I then asked the little girl where they lived, thinking maybe I could send them a gift for being so awesome. The little girl tells me they live in Mexico. They're here for the next few weeks so mommy and daddy can pick peaches. After that, they're gonna pick cherries and then go home. She then asked if I've had lunch, and when I told her no, she gave me a tamale from their cooler. The best tamale I've ever had. So, to clarify, a family that is undoubtedly poorer than you, me, and just about everybody else on that stretch of road, working on a seasonal basis where time is money, they took an hour out of their day just to help some strange dude on the side of the road when people in tow trucks were just passing by. But we aren't done yet. I thank them again and walk back to my car and open the foil on the tamale because I'm starving at this point. And what do I find inside? My damn $20 bill. I whirl around and run up to the van, and the guy rolls his window down. He sees the $20 in my hand and starts shaking his head no, like he won't take it. All I can think to say is, por favor, with my hands out. The dude just smiles, shakes his head, and with what looked like great concentration, tried his hardest to speak to me in English. He puts his hand on my shoulder, looks me in the eyes and says, "Today you, tomorrow me." He then rolled up his window, drove away, and his daughter was waving to me in the rear view. I sat in my car eating the best tamale of all time, and I just cried. I cried like a little girl. It's been such a rough year, and nothing has broken me until this point. This was so out of left field that I just couldn't deal with it. I sat in my car for 20 minutes and just cried, tears of joy. So in the 5 months since this happened, I've changed a couple of tires. I've given a few rides to gas stations, and once, I even went 50 miles out of my way to get a girl to the airport. And each time, I refuse to accept money. Every time, I tell them the same thing when we're through. Today you, tomorrow me.
The things I love about this story is one of the reasons why our United Core is being built. Doing things for people when there's objectively no reason for you to do it, right? It can mean very little to you, but it can mean the world to someone else. And while I've never really tied it together, part of what led me to be kind of like this were two separate events that happened in my adult life. One was when I was in my 20s and driving down. If you're familiar with Atlanta, one of our major interstates is 285. And 285 is like 6 lanes. And I'm in like one of the inside lanes. And all of a sudden my truck starts smoking. I pull it off to the side of the road. As soon as I get to the side of the road, it shuts off and flames start coming out through my hood. So I'm freaked out, right? And I'm in a shirt and tie because that was my dress code at the time. And I go through this wooded area, climb a fence, and go to this mega church that's right there. Like it's a very popular mega church here in Atlanta. I go to the mega church and I ask to use their phone because this is back when everybody didn't carry cell phones. So I'm asking to use their phone. And the church was like, no, we can't let the public use the phone. And I'm like, my car's on fire. You know what I'm saying? You can see the smoke. And I just climbed the fence to get here. I just need to use your phone to call my dad. No, but you can go to the gas station up the road and maybe they'll have like a payphone. The gas station is like 2 miles up the road, y'all. Okay. So I leave the church and I walk 2 miles up the road to the gas station. And I'm in the gas station and a young man there, he asked me what's going on. I told him what happened. And he's like, hey, I can't let you use the work phone, but here's my cell phone. Do what you need to do. And so I call my dad using this man's phone. And then he's like, and I'm sure you're probably hungry. Here, here's a hot dog and whatever he gave me, right? And I'm like, I ain't got no money on me. And he's like, that's cool. I got you. We chat and everything. Come to find out, this young man just got out of prison not too long ago. He's trying to reset his life. And he had no reason to help me. But he's risked his job. He let this stranger use his phone. And the church up the street couldn't be bothered with me. All right. funnier, that was enough. That's what helped change. That flipped a switch in my life anyway. But what's funny about the story is my dad comes up to where my truck is on the side of the road. He's smarter than me. So he finds a gate on the fence not far from where my truck was. And he walks through the gate. But he ends up at the same church. And they won't help him either.
Wow.
And it's like those little things. And then the second story for me is real small, but I was working at the bank. Now I'm in a suit and tie. And I'm going through the drive-through at Chick-fil-A. And like a air light comes on your car. So you get something wrong with your tires. And I'm watching the numbers go down on my dashboard for my tire. And I'm like, great, right? I pull the car off, never even order my food, pull the car off and park on the side and get ready to change my tire. A man working at Chick-fil-A comes out, changes my tire for me, and gives me food. So it's like there are good people
The Lord's kitchen.
that will do things for you and ain't got to, right? And that's why I believe so much in what I'm trying to do. I'm probably not the best steward of it, but it laid on my heart, so I'm trying to do it. But it's like this story is like that. But I can speak to one of the reasons why nobody else will stop for this man. In America, we're fed constant dose of fear.
Right.
And people capitalize on naivete and fear. So you stop to do a good deed, you get robbed. Happens all the time. And not as often as you think it does, but it's enough to make you be like, yo, that ain't gonna be me. Right? So that's why nobody stopped for him. The tow trucks that drive down the road, he'd get fired if he stopped to help you because he wasn't dispatched to you. He was dispatched to somebody who's 2 miles up the road. Right? The hero unit that didn't stop, that's zooming by you, big greenish yellow truck zooming by you. I don't know why he ain't stopped, but he doesn't stop, right? Because his job is to respond to things that are impeding traffic or there's an accident, right? So we are so wound up, so tight. We just don't see each other. We don't help each other, and we're afraid when we do at a time. Like me, I'd be more than happy to help somebody, but you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to stop on the side of the road for a strange car and try to do anything for you. I'm gonna tell you right now, I ain't doing it. Not done it. Because I can't afford be caught slipping like that, which really sucks because you need help. But that's the world we live in, man.
I have to, not want to, I have to believe there's good in this country. I have to believe that there are people who are more willing to help than not. But when you're constantly being fed not only fear, I mean, I get what you said, Thieves. I agree with what you're saying. But not only fear, but what other thing is that you don't like to be made a fool of? Like, okay, I need some money for food. Well, here's money for food. Thank you for the weed that I'm gonna spend this on. And you always in your head, and bless the people who says it. Bless the people who says it. I'm not bashing on you when I say to my next statement. But when people go, well, in my heart, I gave it to you for food. Now it's up to you to decide what you're gonna do with it. But again, that's not reality. Because it's like, hey, you tricked me.
Well, see, that's just funny.
Used me.
I'm that guy.
I know. It's just one of those things. Is like, I know I gave you money for food. I should be feeling good that I gave you money for food. It's not on me that you spend it on anything but food. But it's like, no, you made a fool of me by lying to me about what you supposed to be using that money for. So now I'm going to always, subconsciously, always look at anybody else who says the exact same thing.
Yeah, I feel you. And that's unfortunate because it really gets in the way of a lot of things. Because like for me, and this is like just, you know, you know me for years now. I don't believe that I'm entitled to certain things. So I don't believe that I'm entitled to the truth from you when it comes to something like that. So if you say, hey, can you help me? And I give you $10, I give you $20. I don't care what you do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be nice if you go get some food. You said you were hungry, right? But maybe what you needed more than food right now is a fix, you know, because you're addicted. And yeah, it'd be great if you weren't addicted, but you are. So you might need a fix more than you need a sandwich. That's what you choose to do with it. It's on you. I didn't go buy it. I helped you. Right. And that's how I look at it. That's also why when I'm trying to make sure that when I'm handing out like gift cards and doing stuff like that through OUC, I don't qualify you at all. Right. I try not to anyway. You know, there's certain biases that are inside of you and stuff, but I try not to qualify you. You know, here's $10 or here's a gift card to Subway. I don't care what you do with it. Right. For those of you out there who help support our United Core, you've all pretty much received an email from me, and that email had a gift card in it to Krispy Kreme. And all I said in there was, if this ain't for you and you don't like Krispy Kreme, give it to somebody else. I don't care who you give it to. You can give it to your mama, you can give it to your cousin, you can sell it to somebody. I don't care. Just do something for somebody else. Like this story said, me today, you tomorrow. I believe in that. I cherish that. You know, like as dark as I view this country, because I do, I know for a fact there's good in it. And I know that good doesn't wear a uniform, good doesn't have a color, good doesn't have a gender. There is good in this world. If there wasn't more good than bad, then this world would be far worse than it is. The problem is that good isn't active enough. That's the problem. And yeah, now this family had no reason to help this person. In fact, they had more reason not to help him than anything else, because if this man pulls over to help this stranger on the side of the road and it goes south, he has now put himself and his entire family at risk. But see, he's not seeing it that way, because where he comes from and what he deals with, helping somebody on the side of the road is the least scary thing he done probably dealt with. You know, and the most generosity, me personally, I have ever experienced has always been with the people who have the least.
Yep.
Every single time. If somebody's going to feed you when you don't have anything, it's going to be that man who just got out of prison. If you working on a job and I was a supervisor making good money. You know who made sure I was always okay? Emotionally, physically, everything. It was my team members that were making a fraction of what I made. You know, who organizes the potlucks? It's the people who ain't got hardly nothing. You know, it's the best of us are always truly, quote unquote, the least of us. And it's a shame that we lose that the more comfortable we get. Because the more comfortable we get, the more we think we have to lose. And that's why you don't help somebody. You know?
Yeah. Remembering the past. Okay. So, little disagreement in the Clyburn household.
I side with Foxy.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to tell you which side Foxy is on. I've learned over the years. Not going to do it.
But you've been right like once.
Don't care. Once. Once. It was one time. I'm due. So, one of us believe that this should have been a candidate for worst wife of the year. One of us believe is not strong enough to be worst wife of the year. So we played this before, and I do think years ago, because this, to me, it sounds like it's pretty old. But here we go.
I'll admit, I'm biased right off the bat. I couldn't stand her. I call her his ex to myself and others, but he called her his friend. We're all in our early 40s, and she died recently of an aneurysm. I've been with him for 10 years now, but he had known her for 20. The way he tells it, they were friends in college, decided to date, got married, then realized they weren't a great couple, and decided to just be friends. All that happened years before I met him. He was clear early on that she was important. A couple of months into dating, it came up that his friend was actually his ex-wife. He explained the above to me, saying that she was one of his closest friends and that it was purely platonic. I expressed some discomfort at him being so close to an ex, and he told me, "That's fine. If you have a serious issue with it, let me know now and save us some time. I'll choose her. I like you and all, but I've known her for over 12 years, and she's one of the most important people in my life. You'll have to be okay with that if you want us to be a thing." When we were engaged, I asked again, and he gave me this perplexed look and asked, "Why would us getting married affect my friendships?" I sucked it up and went along. I resented every moment of knowing her, especially when we had to be social. She understood some part of him that I couldn't. Her husband was friends with my husband as well, so it's not like I could use him to help me out. He'd have lunch with her, they'd go to geeky movies, whatever. The few times I brought it up, he said, "We've had this conversation before. You had your chance to back out." She died after they had that lunch the other day on the way to her car. He spent a bunch of time crying, but honestly, I was relieved. He was working with her husband on funeral planning. I told him, "You don't think you're going, do you?" My argument summed up, oh my God, this woman. She's dead, so she's not a factor anymore. He doesn't get to use the "she's my friend" excuse because she doesn't exist anymore. He had his cry for a couple of days, so he gets to be done with mourning her already. There's no need for him to go to her funeral since I wouldn't want her at his. He was the angriest I've ever seen him when I told him that, replying that he'll be going no matter how I feel and that he's willing to burn this to the effing ground while holding up his wedding band. He said, "Besides you, she was the closest friend in my life." Him, her husband, and my sisters are calling me an insensitive butthole over this, all saying that there was no romantic aspect to their relationship and that I'm heartless. Her husband went so far as calling me a ghoul for how I reacted. I never felt that their relationship was appropriate, and I hid that for years because I wanted to be with my husband. Now that she's gone, I don't feel that I should have to hide it anymore and can speak freely. Am I the butthole for just wanting him to be done with her and for him to not attend the funeral?
Yeah, I remember this story.
Here's the deal, lady. Now that she's gone, you don't have to hide how you feel. You didn't have to hide how you feel when she was alive. You didn't. He gave you every chance to say this is a deal breaker. You decided it wasn't a deal breaker. You, and what you said, not me, but what you said, you sucked it up. You had every chance to get out of this. You lied to him, but more importantly, why I would literally call you an a-hole, is you lied to yourself. Like, if this was not your thing, it's not your thing. He could go his way, you could go your way. And we don't know if you was going to meet up again in the future. We don't know if you go separate ways and meet other people. We don't know because you didn't even give your own self a chance. to make any type of decision. Instead, you went pretty nuclear on this. You knew how he felt about her during the dating, during the engagement, during the marriage. You knew where he stand. And now you relieved. This is what I agree with the hubby, which makes you a ghoul. You're relieved she did. I mean, cool is one of them words I would never have came up with, but it's pretty freaking close to, yeah, you are. That is a coolish thing to say. I don't know it was never a part 2 to this. I wish it was, but I guarantee your marriage is extremely damaged. Extremely. I think Foxy every single day. If I have it in the past, I'm doing it now. If you feel uncomfortable about something, please tell me so we discuss it and get out of the way. I want nobody dying for her to go, shoot, well, that's over with. What? Wait, what? Because I'm going to look at you differently now. And always will. You was unrealistic. I'm not even going to call you entitled because I can't put the title entitled on it because you made yourself entitled because you thought whatever it is that you want, you was going to get. But the problem is you put the emphasis on you're going to get it no matter what. And yet it's still screwing you. Because your husband flat out said, I would burn this damn thing to the ground, holding his wedding ring. And it's not like he said, I'm putting her above you. Even when he was mad, upset, enraged. Because there's, like I said, when you're in that type of mode, you don't know what things is coming out your mouth. But even, you don't.
I do.
You do because you're a robot. But for other humans, who doesn't have an AI brain, when you're mad and you're upset, you don't know what's coming out of his mouth. This dude, even when he's enraged, sat there and said, other than you, she was the most important person in my life. Other than you. So he really felt like this was a real deal. Other than you, she was the most important person in my life. And yet you still did a tap dance in the kitchen when you found out she did. Like, lady, I don't know what's going to happen to your marriage. I don't know how you going to work this out. And be honest with you at this point in time, I'm not going to be the one to try to help you work it out. Honestly, you wrote this, read it, and thought, hey, everybody will be on my side. No. You even said something during the video. I can't. My husband is friends with the girl's husband, so I can't use him as a you, lady. You something. You're on an atmosphere that's just mind-boggling. You one of them people who want what they want, regardless of. And it's a sad state to be in. But then before you say something, Foxy wanted to say something.
You want me to?
Yep.
Okay, so she is a really confused person. Like, I don't think she knows herself well enough, or she thought things would change after they get married. Maybe she could convince him, or I don't know. But the fact that he gave her an out and she didn't take it makes her a horrible person for how she acted when that woman died. Like, she literally wished for that woman to be dead. That's a horrible human. Horrible, horrible person. He's not going to want to be with her just for that. Now, I know for me, because I know myself well enough to know that if I'm dating someone and they're still that close with their ex-wife, girlfriend, whoever, that they go to the movies, they go out to eat. Yeah, I know myself well enough to know that that's still breaking for me. So I'll see you later. Bye. So I don't know what she was thinking, but she's wrong to wish death on that girl, lady, woman, whatever. That's just foul.
Did she wish death or she just celebrated it?
She celebrated.
It's the same thing to me. Like, she celebrated. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I think we could say she wished it too.
Yeah. Now I gather all y'all's points. I can relate way too much to this story. My ex-wife is very dear to me. But I don't talk to her at all. Like, we have maybe 2 conversations a year. Unless something comes up, with our daughter that we have to, talk to each other. So I get the attachment because my ex-wife is like my attachment to my youth, right? She was my first love ever. She was my college girlfriend. She was my first wife. She gave me my first child, right? And then after all the ugly stuff, we became friends again, right? She can read me from just how I breathe half the time. So there's a certain level of comfort and nostalgia that's in there. But at the same time, I have a very, very, very solid constitution that says currents and exes don't mix. So he's dead wrong, pardon the term, for spending time with his ex while trying to grow, foster, and maintain a new relationship. That's wrong. That is totally wrong to do that to your girlfriend, fiance, wife. So yeah, you told her and you gave her an out, and she should have took it because it just wasn't the type of relationship that was good for her. I don't know too many people it's a good relationship for, but anyway, it definitely wasn't a good relationship for her. But like Marlon said, she wanted what she wanted. So that's where the manipulation starts, right? And then fast forward, she passes away, and she's jubilant that this woman has passed away at an early age from a traumatic event that has destroyed her whole family, right? And seriously hurt the man you claim to love, right? So yeah, she's bad. I don't know if I make her, worse wife. But she's bad. She's definitely bad. But I still say that the husband, he did not play this well. He did not do the bare minimum to care for his relationship either. Right? You can still care for your ex-wife. That's your best friend from childhood. I get it. But you're also building a family. And when your wife tells you, I don't feel comfortable with you having that type of a relationship with any other woman, that shouldn't be that hard of a call, right? I go to my best friend and be like, look, we can't hang out like that. If we hang out, it's going to be family and family. Family's hanging out, and that would be the compromise that me and my new wife have to just work ourselves out to, so that I don't have to disown my friend. But me and you going to the movies, me and you going to dinner, and I know that that's not what we ain't doing nothing, but you don't create questions where questions don't exist, right? So if your wife isn't comfortable with it, why would you continue to do those things just because you told her so, right? I don't get down with that. I don't think that that's right. Yeah, that's how I take it, right? Like he didn't do what he needed to do, and she never should have stayed in that relationship.
All right. So the question is, should she be a candidate? Is she the winner? But should she be a candidate for worst wife of the year?
But who's she up against?
I can't tell you. I don't even know.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I can't think of, because I think I personally have shot down every 2 or 3 people that of recent that were considered worst because they weren't that worst to me. So I don't know. So short of somebody doing something really, really foul, I don't think she's really a candidate. Definitely not the winner, but maybe she's a candidate. You know, it depends on who she's up against.
All right, so just in case, I'll put her as a candidate.
Yeah, I would be interested in like Anna's take. I mean, I don't want to sit through that story again, but I would be interested in Anna's take because I think that she's much more level-headed with some of those things. But I don't know. I think she did the most damage to herself, you know. And then the husband doing the thing where I'll burn it down. Yeah, I get it. Because in his case, you have literally been manipulating me all this time.
Right.
That's how he's gonna see it. You know, it's bad enough that you don't want me to go to a funeral. You don't want me to go to a funeral. What do you think I'm gonna get out of going to the funeral? She gonna get out. She gonna get out the box and give me a hug. What is this thing? And I think a lot of it is this ownership that people have over each other. And I know I'm in the extreme minority on that because I don't believe I have any sense of ownership over anyone other than my children. So, and even that's tenuous. So, she feels like she's territorial because he once was intimate with this woman. Guarantee you, just that fact alone will always be her problem. And him being around her in her head, if it happened once, it can happen again. Even though this man doesn't seem to have given you any reason to think he's a cheater or anything like that, because I guarantee you, she checked. It's just how she is. She feels ownership over this man, and she feels like this other woman also has ownership of her man, and that cannot be, you know. And then you got androids like me, Marlon. And I don't own nothing. So you're mine when you're mine. And the moment you're not, you're not.
Okay, R2D2. Foxy's videos of the week. How they really sound.
I'm sorry, but that's the truth right there. You sound like you strangling geese. What is going on?
It sound like you were being attacked. Like, what the? Hey, hey. Oh, I gotta play it one more time. When I was thinking the video out, I was listening to it. And the first thing I went was, who's messing with your wife, dude? And he jumped up at the same moment, thinking the same thing. Like, wait, what's going on? Hold up. Anyway.
I just hate that they had to go and pick a Mariah Carey song. Y'all leave my boo alone. That ain't right. But yeah, it do, man, and you just got to sit through it. They just like, and then they wait till you get in the car and do that stuff. You know, like I can't even get away.
Right.
You know, just
You sometimes you want to, you wouldn't. You shouldn't. I should say shouldn't.
now you just gotta take it. It'll be over soon.
But you know they're gonna have a note in there. It's like, babe, you're not gonna hit that. No, I can lower it to a tenor. No, no, you can't. You can't.
You're great at a lot of things.
This ain't one of them.
Keep that at the house. But at least she kept it at the house. Like, yeah, baby, save that for me. That's just for me. Just for me. Yeah.
You try to.
I'll be glad when the yoga pants season goes away.
Yeah.
Every video, man. Yo, don't get me wrong. I like looking at a nice behind. But come on, ladies, you're so much more than your behind. Why y'all got to always be out with your butt out everywhere you go? I mean, it's your call, but it's like every damn blasted video. I'm like,
because it's comfortable.
no, that ain't why they're doing it. They're doing it because they know people click on it. Because the exact same content used to exist, right? It's clickbait, and it helps get your clicks up. That's what it is.
It's comfortable.
That's cool.
Just do it.
Doing the dishes.
I'm not doing the dishes.
Wait, grab the trash on the way out.
No.
Ryan, your laundry's done. You need to finish it.
I'm not doing it. You do it.
I'm sorry, bro. I don't like. I was unimpressed with what it was appearing to be. Because I'm like, dude, you done seen these? They yours. You done seen them a lot. You good? Can't be suckered like that. Come on now. You're making it bad for the rest of us. But then the thing with the what that supposed to mean? What it supposed? I bet I can close a distance between me and you before you can get any one of them things. That's how my brain works. If somebody is showing me a weapon, I'm like, you better have enough distance between me and you to get to it before I get to you. I don't care who you are. The moment you show a weapon, you are a man to me. Right? But in this thing, this was all humor and all that stuff. But I was just like, come on, bro. Even before the weapon part. Come on, bro. Come on. Be a little tougher. Inside, you're going to be like, oh, yes. But stay cool, bro. Maintain some control. Don't be whooped like that.
Oh, boy. Last video of the night. No matter what, it's just so good.
Hey Alexa, play Regulate by Warren G.
Regulate, featuring Nate Dogg by Warren G from Apple Music.
Reguladores. Regulamos cualquier robo en nuestra propiedad y lo hacemos muy bien. No cualquiera tiene habilidad. Tienes que ser ágil con el hierro si sabes a lo que me refiero. Gánate tu lugar.
¡Reguladores! ¡A montar!
Era una noche clara, la
la luna brilla, va Warren G en las calles buscando su entrada. Unas chicas por ahí pa' llamarlas después, rodando en mi nube relajando a mis pies. Llegué al este del LBC en una misión buscando a Warren G. Vi un carro lleno de chicas sonriendo pa' mí. Todas ustedes saben que con la 213 doblé a la izquierda en la 21 y Lewis. Tipos jugando a jugar. Me propuse, salí de mi carro y dije, ¿qué pasa? Y me sacaron, se la fijé, hoy me mataron.
Okay, first of all, he was doing way too much. Second of all, I never really liked that song, but the melody and the beat is killer. So you put Spanish on top of that, that thing was hot.
I
like the Spanish version more than the English version.
really,
Yeah, I never really liked the English version that much, other than the melody is just, it's one of the best ones, you know, that I think that came out.
I like the melody so much. That's why I said it doesn't matter if you did a Spanish version or the English version of it. It's the beat that just like nostalgia again. So forgive me, folks, because I've said this before. There are certain songs and certain things that just take me back to my good old days. Like 6 deep in the car, everybody crammed up in the back seat and everything. You ain't got to worry about it because you're the driver. Everybody 6 deep up in the car, and this song goes up. And if you time it right, the song is coming on as you're pulling up to the club. So you already got it pumping loud and everything else, and you all pile out. Yeah. Feel those days.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know. Like I'm 46 now. And I swear, I feel like I was when I was 25. I don't look like I did when I was 20. I look a lot like I did, but I look like I ate who I was when I was 25. But
wow.
But I'm just saying, like, it's funny how like you get older, but you yourself don't feel older. It's wild.
There are things that I did when I was younger where I did flat out say, I'm so burnt out from doing it. It's like the clubbing thing. Like this, when I tell you I went to the club every weekend. Every weekend,
never that
on the weekend. My clubbing started on Thursday. That was when the clubbing started. It was a big club, hyped and everything. This was on Thursday. It was a biker club, and they made it into a club, and everybody and their mama was out there. So it started Thursday. I think the only issue we've ever had was Friday, maybe. Because I think Thursday, everybody knew where to go. I think Friday was the time it was like, where are we going? I don't know, because what's popping. Saturday and Sunday was already packed again. But then it got to the point where it was like, ooh, I'm done. That may be a good thing. Ooh, I'm done. Like me and crowds, no. You couldn't have me sit there and walk through a bunch of bumping into persons every 2 seconds and think, whoa, this was fun. No, it's not. I just want to get to the other side of this room. Now I got to say, excuse me 19 times before I even take my first step. This is not fun to me anymore.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't feel like I missed out on anything really, other than the fact that I started a family so young, so I grew up quick. But for me,
six deep with 6 people.
Yeah, 6 people. Yeah. You got all your boys. It's like 5 people on the back seat. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you don't say, I got 5 of my boys. We like, it's almost like a gangster way of saying, you know, we're 5 deep. So it's sort of like,
yeah,
we're 5 deep up in this. So, but yeah.
But coming up, man, it was funny. It's like fun for me, even before, I started raising kids, but even though I was a kid at that time, right? But fun for me has always been having my lady and just being booed up with her. Like that's always been like my fun, right? If it was with the boys, it'd be we're playing basketball or shooting the shit somewhere. But I never really truly enjoyed the club scene. I mean, I had a window of time where I enjoyed it. But for the most part, I never really enjoyed it because I'm always wound so tight, right? So I'm that friend out of the crew. We almost every crew got one. I'm that one in the crew that, I can drink. I'm always like mellow and I'm constantly checking on everybody who came with me, right? I'm like always sizing up people who I got to fight, how I'm gonna start it off, how do we hit this and get out the door? Like that was me. So being in these crowded club situations, I was very seldom relaxed enough to enjoy the fact that I was there, right? So clubs just wasn't my thing. And then when the lounge season comes around, so that was like the latter part of your 20s, right? When you start to shift out of the club and you move to lounges, that was more my speed, right? Because it's less people. Really, it's less people. It's the same thing, it's just less people there. So that was really more my thing. But yeah, I've never really. And they had a little short window where I enjoyed the strip club, but I didn't enjoy it enough because I ain't never had money like that. So it was like, I'm not trying to spend bill money on somebody. That's not me.
The strip thing went in and out so fast it wasn't funny, and I'll have a story for that in a second. I never understood why people would throw parties on Thursdays in college. Then Fridays were usually the day when things like papers were due or you had to take a test / quiz at the end of the week.
See, Parker, your statement answers itself.
Yeah.
Because the people on the first part of your statement are not the same people on the back part of your statement. So the only time that becomes a problem is when you're trying to be both of those people.
And the funny thing about it is, I could never understand what college kids did. You don't understand the energy kids have. Yeah, they literally. I remember going to the club, getting home at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, going to sleep, waking up, and going to work. And I was absolutely fine. Now, mind you, it was a fast food job, but still, I was fine. I didn't have I wasn't drinking then either, so it didn't bother me. I like, get up, let's go shoot. But
me, I wasn't any fun. I missed out. I did miss out on a lot of college. I did. Because freshman year, I was wide open. I slept with anything that was pretty and moving. And sophomore year, I fell in love. By the time sophomore year was over, I was getting married with a baby on the way. So, after that, I was grown. I wasn't going to no parties. I wasn't doing none of that. I was a husband. I worked full time, went to school full time, took care of my baby, took care of my wife, had a house, 2 cars. Like that was my life at 20 years old. Well, 21. And then by 23, I was divorced. So my mind was different. You know what I'm saying? Like all my friends were legit 23. I was a 30-year-old man in a 23-year-old man's body. So
now, as for the stripper thing, boy, this gonna be controversy, but I'm just telling you my truth. Be honest with you, I was into the stripper scene until I looked at my boy one day. We went to some strip club that he had to go to, and I just said, "Dude, I can't do this no more." Why, man? Look what they got. Why, man? I was like, why am I going to give money to women who I got a better body than they do? Like, why am I doing this?
Strip club you going to? I know you used to.
It's got that back. It really did. it got to the point where it was like, what are we looking at? Because this ain't no turn on to absolutely nobody but people who just want to see a naked body, because this ain't doing nothing for me.
I like seeing naked bodies.
I like to see a naked, nice body. And fortunately, and I can say it now because the place is closed. Been closed for decades now. There used to be a strip joint where you supposed to close at 1 or something like that. You can close at 3. But 1 o'clock, they used to say, okay, after 1 o'clock, if you leave, you leave. So it's like you can't come back in. There's a reason for this. If you leave, you leave. If you stay in, you stay in. The reason being is because when you stayed in, everything came off.
Yeah, well, you know what's
Absolutely
funny?
everything. So it's like,
I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Metro Atlanta. So I ain't going to a strip club where everything don't come off anyway. Like I ain't never like I was out of the state. I was like out west with some family, and they took me to a hole in the wall kind of strip club type joint. Like I know this ain't what it was, but it felt like we went into like a garage somewhere.
woo.
That's what it felt like. I don't remember what really went down because it was so long ago, but like they don't do the whole birthday suit, right? And I'm like,
Nope.
this ain't a strip club. What is this? What is
Because
this?
Because it was state law in North Carolina. You can show as much top as you want to, like no problem. You can't show a lot of the bottom. It was literally state law. So what I was telling you about the club that was like 1 o'clock, and if you leave, you leave. If you can't come in, is because it was like, yeah, we don't want nobody who get wind of what we're doing, and people start coming in for that 1 o'clock and shut us down.
That makes sense.
Everything comes off. Everything comes off. So it's like,
I just don't understand it. I understand that's how the different states are, right? Those are the rules. Georgia's not like that. So for us, it was more like you got the ones that got like you're really, really beautiful, women there. And then there's like your off-brand ones where it's like, oh, she got a bullet wound? What is, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, it was a phase. But what really started messing me, it was like I would go be social with my boys. I was a young man, of course. Seeing a naked woman is a beautiful thing. I mean, women are like poetry. But paying money to be there, like I was mad. I had to pay for parking. Then you got to pay the cover. Then you got to pay for the day. I'm too cheap for all that. I wasn't that cheap dude though who would go and sit with his boys and then just stare at the women and never tip anybody. I was never that guy. I don't like that guy. But every crew got one.
OMG, you just say the off-brand. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some off-brand spots, bro.
And the place that I went to was up and up, one of the best places. Then we just went there one day, and I'm like, did she just have a baby? What are we looking? Yeah. What are we doing?
Yeah.
You want to lap dance? No, I dance better than you. Why am I giving you any money?
My biggest thing was that I don't like spending money on stuff, right? That's not me. So that was a real thing. But also when I was in college before, I got married and all that. No, it was after I was married. It was after she left me. So I was in my angry dark phase and I dated a couple dancers. And then you start to see the work part of what it takes to be a dancer and how difficult it is and how like that world is. And that started shifting like how I even viewed it then, right? So the shine falls off when you see behind the scenes. So yeah, but just regular clubbing. I was still then. It was more of I think my window of time for actual like clubbing, right? Like get dressed, be out all night long, trying to see who you could pick up, all that type stuff. That was after my wife left me, my ex-wife left me, and I moved back. I graduated college and moved back to Atlanta. When I got back to Atlanta, I was like 22, 23 years old. And so I was in my dark, angry mode, and I was all in, right? It was, but it only lasted like 3 years. And then I was like, this is old. I don't do this no more.
It was my final. Yeah, it's late. I can say this story. My final, I'm done with all strip clubs. See, when I tell you I was miserable from the time I parked the car to the time I left, I was miserable. We went there and it's jam packed, like packed. And I'm fighting through the crowd and everything like this. And I went to the first and second strike was I went to the bar and asked for a soda. You know, can I have
the
some
strip
Coke?
club asking for a soda.
Yeah, I still didn't drink then. So I went to the club and I said, can I have a soda? This dude brought out a Dixie cup. Yes. The cups that you put in the little kids' room so they can have the kids' bathrooms and they can have something to drink. A Dixie cup of Coke. $7. Bruh, get that damn thing out my face. I'm gonna spend no $7 on a Dixie. No, get that out of my face. Get that on out of here.
Man.
But the last thing I remember as I walked out was, it's something's birthday. Woo! We're against one of the strippers. It's something birthday. We had one girl walk out with a dildo, one girl walk out with whipped cream and baby oil. I'm out. No, I'm done. I'm done. And to be honest with you, never been back since.
I don't blame you. That
First
of all, that sounds like a terrible club scene. I'm glad I was in Atlanta. Well,
horrendous.
We had stuff like Club Cheetah, strokers, pinups. You know, you had a lot of options here. And since they're all competing, they were all pretty good. You got to be careful when you leave so you don't get robbed in the parking lot. But yeah, it was a different time. But yeah.
It said all this combo started with the Spanish regulator.
It did, man.
It did.
And we got stuck in memory lane.
It did.
Sorry, Parker, in about 10 years, 20 years, you'll be like
years. Parker will have some stories in about 10, 15 years going, oh, I remember when you talked about that. And yeah, it got back. It really did. I have no desire to go to those strip joints. I have no desire to go to a club.
Even at this point, I mean, I could go to a lounge under the right circumstances, like if it's just like the guys getting together, you know, type of thing. But anywhere that requires dancing, I don't want to go. And strip clubs, I'm thoroughly out on strip clubs.
Well, yeah, because I've been married for 20 years and I'm not going to disrespect my wife.
Yeah, that's
like doing that. But in my heart of hearts, if I wasn't married, I still wouldn't go. I have no desire to sit there and go. And I guess my mentality has changed because it definitely wasn't my mentality back in the day. But my mentality has changed to the point of, so I'm giving you money because you naked?
Yeah, like, pretty much.
That's
for 4 minutes.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. But no, you're paying for the variety and the experience and the view and all that. I don't have no problem with strip clubs. My problem with it, the problem with it for me now is I'm 40 something years old. So when I was in my 20s and like really, no, in my 20s, because by the time I was 30, I was married again. So in my 20s, it was like, oh yeah, baby, call me daddy, right? It was like that kind of thing. And now I'm like, nah, baby, where's your daddy? like, right? Who failed you,
God.
baby girl? No, this is not. Let's talk. What's your financial plan? Like,
Let me look at your 401k. Oh, you have no idea what that is? Oh, baby, come here.
yeah, let's talk about it. Now let's see. You making $10 a dance, and you average what, about 30 dances in the nights? That's like $300. All right, so what I want you to do, I want you to go ahead and set up that you're gonna blow $100 a night on whatever you want to, but see the other $200, let's figure out what your financial plan is. Like, that's like
look,
and baby, put some clothes on so I can talk to you now. Look,
and this is so stupid in my mind because I'm thinking to myself, I'm really looking at somebody else's daughter. In the meantime, I'm thinking, well, everybody is somebody's daughter or son, but I'm like, I can't do it. It's like, yeah, but
it's because I'm a grown man with grown children. So that's what it, because objectifying women is part of being a man. We got porn, we got movies and all that. Like, I can't watch music videos. I try not to watch any music videos or anything. That's sensory overload for me. I don't need to see all that. Put that away. I have been married for a long time. Stop. I can't handle all of that. I can't handle it. Right? It's just too much going on. But the strip club thing is literally, these are people who are the age of my daughter. We not gonna be. I can't have any fun in this place.
Not at all. Because you're right. These are the same age as my kids, and I'm like,
I'm sitting here like, yo, how can I help you?
Do you need some advice?
I remember, I went. This is back when I worked for myself. I was like, doing financial services full time, and so this was, I don't know, I was in my 30s, and I went to a local strip joint for lunch, right? And that was really when it clicked. So like when my boys be like, hey man, we can go eat. No, I don't want to go. Because I remember being in there. I'm in a suit and tie, eating some lemon pepper wings, and this the dancer's trying to talk to me, and I'm sitting here trying to sell her insurance. And I was like,
you done.
It's over.
You are done. You are done.
I'm eating in a strip club. And two, I'm trying to sell you insurance. I'm like,
you done, bro. You done. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Tell her. Oh, wait a minute. One more comment. Yeah, when you still got your little elevator pitch at a strip joint, you done.
That was it. That was it, bro.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
Best place to find me is right here hanging out with Marlon and Anna. Radical Truth Power, Saturday Night Vibes. That's the best place to catch me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, and of course,
I'm assuming you're eligible to club.
I appreciate this. I appreciate Anna. And until next time, we will see you when we see you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving, family time thing, whatever. And yeah.
Enjoy yourselves. Take a breather. Enjoy.
Turn on some Mariah Carey.
No, don't do that.